Good morning. It is the 21st of December 2022. That is summer solstice here in Cusco and the beginning of summer officially. I'm going to head out and walk around and give some general reports on the state of Cusco this morning, which from a glance out the window doesn't look bad. Yesterday, the organizers of a lot of protests in a number of the provinces around Cusco agreed to pause roadblock activities and similar until the 2nd of January to allow for people to have holidays and stuff like that. And additionally, Congress reconvened and voted to move elections up to April of 2024, which is sooner than 2026, which is when normally elections would have been taking place, but not as soon as people who are protesting probably want to see. Definitely not as soon as people who are protesting want to see. There are logistical considerations and constitutional considerations that stipulate how long the election cycle needs to be and what needs to happen and a bunch of that kind of stuff. So the question of how soon elections could be is somewhat open because Congress could vote to do them right away. On the other hand, people's opinions that I'm hearing expressed around town are sometimes different from what they were a couple weeks ago. Dina Boluarte has been in office for 2 weeks. As of today, it is 2 weeks since December 7th when the transition of power took place. And so there's a lot of stuff to know with respect to all of that kind of thing. But anyway, my objective here is mostly just to let folks know what the situation is like on the ground here in Cusco. So like, if you're wondering what is up, are we in danger? How are we doing? How much is going on in the way of protests? That's what I'm here to talk about, not to give opinions about politics, just to state the facts as plainly as possible. Well, for starters, 8 a.m. traffic is very normal. So I'm going to walk through the market real quick on the way to walking out to get at least an espresso because, yeah. So that's a chicken delivery truck, which is good news because yesterday the market was low on chicken and it was fairly expensive. So looking much more open today. Hardware is still closed. But a lot more active than what it has been. So you can see the gastronomic center looks to be operating pretty normally. So that's all happy news. And people are opening up. So walk through the potato section. Much more open. We produce a lot of food in this region. kitty. And I'll head back this way because, you know, so much more open. Yeah. And stuff coming in. There's chicken. Buenos días. So that's all pretty normal around here right now. Traffic. So, crossing the street. Here, where this construction stuff is still going on, supposedly is open as Plaza Vea, which is like a superstore, like a Target kind of thing for those in the US. And the word is that it is open, and it sure as hell is. Check that out. So that is the competition for the regular normal market that we just walked through. So this is Lima Pampa Grande, which is a major intersection. It's got this like roundabout, and it can be super congested, which it is not right at the moment. Public transit is running pretty regular, and the breakfast on the street people are out and about. And this is small Lima Pampa. And you can see traffic is moving fairly steady. The tourist center of Cusco is a whole lot of one-way roads and a lot of that kind of stuff. And we are coming up on the Santo Domingo Monastery, better known as Joricancha. And it's not fully normal yet in terms of tourist vendors being out here, but we're gonna cross and go this way. Past the expensive chain hotel in the former palace. And I'll just turn around quick to give you a quick view. Not particularly crowded. I posted a couple weeks ago about this cactus looking super thirsty, and it's been raining, so it's looking better. So that's good. So you can see that even the buses say political things that are out, not all of them, but a lot of them, which is not uncommon around here. This is Calle Maruri, the main head of tourism activities is boarded up, the main headquarters. So if you were thinking of going there to ask for money back on the tickets you didn't get to use to Machu Picchu. Probably not today. So, kind of classic. And so, ATM's wide open. People share around a thing about this corner a lot and say it's, you know, good Inca stonework, which it's not. It's repaired, and they like tore down a lot of that building. But so we're walking up, headed towards Santa Catalina, and then on to the Plaza de Armas. So these are mainly restaurants that serve tourist audiences. Along here. This one is a local restaurant. And we are coming up on Santa Catalina. Tamales for breakfast, very normal. I like this statue because she's weaving, even though part of her weaving has disappeared. But yeah, there she is. So this is the monastery at Santa Catalina, and we're gonna go ahead and walk past the Plaza de Armas to see if they are setting up. So let's find out if they are setting up for the Santur Antiqui, or the Holy Buying. Holy Shopping, something like that. Which traditionally is on the 24th, and everybody would go buy small presents for family and things associated with nativity scenes and all that sort of stuff. And it sure does look like they're setting up and expect it to happen. So traffic is closed, and they are indeed setting up tents for the big Christmas shopping spree. As we saw yesterday, there still could be plenty of marches coming through. No telling. I'm gonna walk up past the cathedral here and head in the direction of breakfast. This is Plazoleta Jesus Lambari. Pretty empty. This street gets mobbed because it is the home of the famous 12-cornered, 12-angled stone. So, actually, right now, this looks like a pretty good day to go do a whole lot of stuff around Cusco, like walking tours and all that kind of stuff. And that is the famous stone. Anyway, so we'll see about breakfast. So this place is well known for its all-day breakfast, which is pretty gringo friendly. I gotta decide what I'm gonna have, what with my ouchie tooth from the multiple root canals yesterday. The news is still reporting plenty of strike-type activity and roadblocks in other areas not so close into Cusco, the city. And a cappuccino has cats on it. I'm gonna have pancakes. Not the diabetic-friendly choice, but it is the tooth-friendly choice. This is a subject that has been getting talked about a lot. There are people who think it would be cool to split off the south of Peru into a new country. Yep, pancakes, cappuccino, orange juice, bacon. Yep, doing the breakfast thing. In Peru, it isn't hard to find perspectives from all angles, and a lot of actual news gets spread via Facebook, so not everywhere is agreeing to hold off on strikes. This is probably the emptiest I've ever seen this restaurant, which is a tourist hotspot that often has lines around the block. And let us not forget, as we're doing this, even as I'm going out for breakfast, that the pandemic is still not over. See, much more crowded at this time of day. I've still seen it be a lot more crowded. The tourist zone is a little bit of a downturn, I would say, for this time of year.
Hola, buenos días. Where are you going?
So yeah, looking pretty normal now in the tourist sector. And coming back into the Plaza de Armas, and looks like stuff is activating and setting up for Santudan Pikui, the holy buying. So tomorrow, as of tomorrow, it should be, this is going to be all full of vendors. So everyone who's rolling in right now is coming in to set up their vending spaces and that kind of thing. I am making my way through quickly to get to an appointment.
Son tres.
No, yo solo fui.
So under normal circumstances for Santo Antigui, this is super jam-packed, like you can barely get through. Don't know what it'll be like this year. So overall, after being out and about for a bunch of time today, I would say that in the mostly Peruvian areas, commerce is stepping up because people are in a rush to try and get things for Christmas and to try and sell things for Christmas. So there's a lot of commerce and activity going on there. The tourist areas are much wider open, and there are fewer tourists around in general, which is not surprising. Normally at Christmas time, we see a lot of domestic tourism. So, tourists from Lima who are coming, and it's not clear if maybe some of that hasn't started up yet because the end of the school year has been somewhat delayed in some places due to all of the civil unrest, or if the money isn't there, or if people aren't traveling because they're afraid to, and so all of that is not known. People are very, very concerned. A lot of people have invested heavily in, merchandise for this Christmas season, some of which is seasonal, and they won't be able to sell again until next year, which is, of course, also an unknown quantity. But yeah, so there's a lot of concern as far as what is going to happen to the economic recovery that was just starting to really be underway in the sort of somewhat emerging from total pandemic shutdowns stage of things. So nobody knows. A cab driver I talked to today said that last year, during still state of emergency from the pandemic and all of that kind of stuff, still with a lot of deaths happening and so forth, that business was better than it is this year. So that's a lot of what is concerning people here right now. Also, prices on just about everything are going up because transport has been a bigger problem. There were a lot of losses in transport. This was particularly true for livestock. So like for fresh meat and that kind of thing, and vegetables and fruit, there were some losses, but not quite as heavy. For the most part, though, I think an important thing to remember is that the Cusco area is probably going to be pretty much okay, like we're not going to starve, because we do produce so much food here, but prices are going to go up and there's less work and a lot of that kind of stuff. One tour guide friend of mine told me that she had a couple of very large groups for late January cancel. Other people have said that they've had cancellations going out into March. I think that's really unfortunate. I understand why people are potentially doing it. But I think it is unlikely that we're going to see really serious unrest that is dangerous continue at this stage of things. I mean, we're in a constitutional crisis and it's, worrisome economically, but the worries for people who live here are entirely different than the worries are for visitors. So anyway, it's an interesting whole thing. I have a group of tourists coming in May, and I am not worried about that. I'm confident that that is going to be fine. And I have a really good friend who is coming in tomorrow, and I also feel like that is going to be fine, but we're not planning on going and doing a whole lot of tourist stuff. We're not going to go to Machu Picchu or anything like that. So anyway, if you're here in the Cusco area right now, one thing you can do is try to support small business and independents as much as possible, because those are folks who have really gone out on a limb hoping that they were going to recover economically from several years of shutdown. And so that's worrisome at this point. Anyway, hope this is helpful. Drop a comment, like, follow, share, all of that kind of thing, and let me know if this is interesting and useful to you so that I know whether or not to keep taking the time to get this information out there. Thanks. Bye-bye.